Welcome everybody to our third podcast or webinar, short little mini webinar, on this whole notion under the banner of strong families survive tough times. The times are upon us. How's your family? And so with that, I'm going to turn over to Peter Culver to introduce our first two topics and our topic for today. So Peter.
So thanks, Tom. As you may recall, those of you who have listened before, our first topic, we did just a brief intro into this concept of shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves in 3 generations. And the evidence that the real cause of that is lack of trust and communication around joint decision-making. In the second video, we unpacked a key part of that, which is this distinction. You may remember a wonderful chart that Tom's put together that shows the relationship between independence and interdependence. And we live in a world that prizes independence, but in fact, it's not the most healthy foundation for a successful family. And so today we kind of want to look at maybe what is the obverse side of that, which is independence doesn't mean everybody always has to love each other. And we're going to talk about conflict and conflict avoidance. And then sometimes confronting and dealing with conflict and difference of opinion is just as important or much more important than avoiding it to, avoid a hubbub or something like that. So I'm going to turn it back to Tom, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about how to deal with conflict in a positive way.
Yeah, great. You're right. I mean, so many parents and so many children are so concerned about conflict in this loving environment we have at home and all, that they duck questions, they duck concerns. I have a little graphic I'll show you here to give you a sense of what this can look like. Typically what we find is that families are over on the right-hand side of this image, if I can get it to come up, avoiding conflict. And what really is happening there is they're not being honest with each other about what they actually think. And they're slowly actually drifting apart as that happens. And this usually continues on until somebody gets so frustrated they don't want to avoid it anymore. They want to confront it, and all of a sudden they have an explosion, and the family jumps way over to the other side where now they need expensive mediation, or they have a fast split. And there's so many examples of this. I mean, if you just look at the studies on families, you see time after time after time, they were in conflict avoidance till something exploded and they had a fast split. What they bypassed in doing that was this whole middle ground of learning how to practice and manage conflict. And that's the piece that we often see. And I'll give you a good example of this. We recently had a family where it wasn't exactly what I portray in this little verbiage here, but where one of the sons in the family had found a small business that he wanted his parents to invest in for him to run. And he said, I really want you guys to buy this because it's right in my sweet spot. I think it'd be great at it. Well, the parents thought, there's no way. This guy's immature. He doesn't know how to run a business. He's never evidenced this. There's all kinds, without even seeing the business, they were really concerned about investing at all right now the way he was articulating. But they felt guilty. They went and they looked at the business. And so, but rather than be honest, they had to come up with another way of really articulating their thoughts. Well, there were 3 choices they had when they wanted to try to describe that they were uncomfortable. One is they could confront the son right off the bat and say, you know what, I got to tell you, this is a bad idea. You're not ready, and you're wrong on these assumptions. And oh my goodness, that sounds so difficult. Another choice is maybe we could give some kind of a misleading excuse, but comfortable excuse for us. And, oh, gee, son, really love this idea. Wow, what a cool idea and all. But we don't have the liquidity right now. We're kind of tied up and things like that. And so we just don't think we can do this right now. But wow, that was really, really cool. Thanks. And the third choice is they could start a little bit of a dialogue with the son of, hey, son, I might be missing something here, but I've got some biases from previous experiences that make me cautious right now. But I don't know what you know, and you've been looking at this opportunity. Could we maybe sit down and talk about this and maybe talk through where we are and what our backgrounds are? Because there's got to be a kernel here. I just don't know what it is, and we can learn from that. All right, well, as you look at those 3 choices, which one is the most damaging for that family going forward? And some people often think, well, the most damaging one would be number one, because, you're coming in there and you're number two. Number two is because think about those two people. What did they walk away from that conversation thinking? The father's thinking, oh, good, I ducked it, bad investment on my son who I don't think is ready, and, blah, blah, blah. And the son's walking away thinking, Dad really believes in me, and he loved this idea, and he really wants to invest in the next business venture I come up with. He just needs the liquidity. You have two people walking away that avoided conflict, but they're setting themselves up for a much bigger explosion later on, where the son can say, for the last 3 years, I've been looking for an opportunity. I finally find it. Now you tell me you don't believe in me? All of a sudden, the wheels are off the bus. And so how do we help families get into this instead of avoiding conflict and jumping over it? How do we merge them into the middle? And that's what we're going to focus on in the next call. But I'll give you one little takeaway, though, I think that's really powerful. One of the most damaging things we see when people are avoiding conflict is if we have a parent and a child, or a brother and let's say a brother and a sister, okay? And the brother has an issue with the sister. Rather than go to the sister and say, I really think you're overspending, or you're entitled, or I don't like your husband, or your kids are acting badly, very often that brother would go to maybe one of the parents and say, hey, you know what? Joanne, she's really got a problem, and then explain. Well, now you get two people that are, the brother feels good about that because now I have support. I thought she had these issues before, but now I've convinced them. I know she has these issues now. But now we have two people that have an issue with poor Joanna, and yet one of them never really saw the evidence, but they're just hearing it third party. Well, that is extremely damaging for relationships, and it's extremely damaging for getting anything positive done in families. Honesty directly to the person that needed to hear it is where to start. How do you do it? So things to look for here. Number one, if you are thinking of triangulating because you've got an issue you don't feel comfortable bringing up to the person, stop it. Number two, if you see somebody in the family that's trying to use you to triangulate on somebody else and they're more gossipy, they're not saying, hey, Joanne really needs some help. Do you want to help me out? I want to go to her house next Saturday. There you're working together to help her. This is different. This is you're looking for help for you, to support you in your kind of issue with this person. So if you look for it in your family, if you see it, help the person that came to you with this complaint of this third party. Help them figure out a way to resolve it. Give them an assignment. That's really a problem. What are you going to do about it? Because I'd really want to hear what your resolution is. And not only that, when you resolve it, let me know, because now you've created an issue for me, and I'd like to have it resolved for me as well. And I'd like to maybe give a call to Joanne when you're done and just kind of make sure everything's all kind of covered. You've kind of pushed that person to get into that space of trying to figure out how to conflict resolve, practice and manage it. Next meeting, we're going to have a chance to get into this in more detail. But I hope that's helpful. Give you a little bit of a takeaway. Don't triangulate. Triangles are really solid in nature. They're very damaging in relationships. Turn it back to you, Peter.
Yeah, so we hope you'll join us in our third program. And what we're really going to try and do is weave these two items together. So how can we find a forum or a venue to promote more interdependence, but also not avoid conflict in a way that leads to bad results? And it turns out that maybe the most helpful actual tool to achieve both of those results and build sustainable families is regular family meetings. And it'll probably take us a couple programs to unpack that in its entirety, but I think you'll find it both interesting as a concept, and we're also going to present a specific process that we've developed that families can use. So thanks for joining today, and look for us on broadcast number 4. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Peter. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
All right. That was good.
I think we're getting 5 minutes.
This doesn't tell me, but my sense was while we were doing it, it wasn't flagging. So,
okay.
I think everyone, I guess, will be a little bit different, right? But
right.
You did actually go through the slides quicker than I thought maybe you'd be able to. So one thing probably I should do is figure out some way to have a little clock or something, one just to monitor the time, and then I'm not sure how I give you the high five or whatever. Maybe we just have some signal or something like that, you know?
Yeah. Well, there's a chat function down here.
Oh, that's right.
You could send a little chat, say,
Let's
you
just
know,
see. Okay. So if I said, uh,
something like that.
yeah, I would be not so conflicting. I would say maybe running over.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, that's good.
So you're avoiding conflict.
All of my kids would tell you I'm a master at it.
Yeah. We all are. We all are.
Well, my wife is much better at not avoiding conflict than me, but hey, look, you go too far in the other direction, and that's like answer number one, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to squelch that one right out of the gate, but that's not always the best.
You're right. Being emotional intelligence, you know, IQ would say confront with the
Right,
facts.
right,
EQ would say you've got to tell them the truth. IQ and EQ combined would say you got to tell them the truth, but you've
right.
got to do it in a way that is not damaging. And that's what I want to talk about next time, of how do you actually do that. But yeah, that anyway. So
How are your videos for Gordon going?
well, I did 4 weeks worth of class material.
How long is each one? 20 minutes, you said?
Well, the way that each week's of class goes, there could be like 30 to 40 minutes worth of combined videos, but they're not supposed to be a 40-minute video. They're not even supposed to be a 20-minute video. They're supposed to be like 10-minute videos maybe. And I broke the rules. I mean, one of them was like 15, but most of them were around 10-ish.
Right.
And so I can compile like 3 of those together or 4 of those together, and that would be a week's worth of videos. So on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they would watch those when they have a chance on their cell phone if they want, and reflect on them and all. But then we give them some questions that they can think about and hopefully answer, or use them as guidelines to post what they call their own video huddle, where everybody puts in their own video, and on Wednesday night and Thursday, they're looking at each other's videos of the reactions to the material. Does this make sense or not? You give examples, or how does it relate to your family, whatever. And then at the end, we give them an action step to think about over the weekend, whether it's read an article but all work that they should be thinking of doing from Monday to the following Monday is between an hour and a half to 2 hours.
How many people do you think might listen to these?
Well, it's going to be class oriented. So people sign up for the class, and they will then go through it for like 8 weeks in a row, and they would be signed up for this, and that's what they would do. And then we start the next class if we have more material. And I've got really enough for 2 classes. The first one's going to be on how to build the family issues and the 6 steps and all that, but really more on the family side. And the second one's going to be, how do you integrate wealth into that if you have financial resources? Right. And if you're an advisor, how do you integrate this concept into your practice?
Nice.
And that's where I was thinking of bringing you in.
Oh, I'd love to do that. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So I think that was good. The minute I stop the show, usually literally just like in a couple minutes, I get the link and we can both check it out and just look. These are intentionally a little bit more classic, and as long as one of us isn't picking our nose or something in the middle of it, I think we just go with it, right? But
yeah, same with me. If you just remind me if I don't remember to say it, but I'm pretty sure I will. Family meetings, I do want to talk about there's a difference between a family meeting and a business meeting. When I say family meeting, almost every wealthy person thinks what I said was business meeting. Right. We're going to get together and talk about the money.
Right.
Board's a great example of it.
Right, exactly.
I mean, you weren't at the meeting that we did in Florida. Yes, you were.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, you were. And do you remember when he said, like 5 minutes in, he said, I know we're supposed to do this for like all day, but could you cut it in half? Because I've got things that are important that I want to talk about this afternoon. And about an hour later, he said, time out, belay that order. This is much more important. We're going to go the whole day on it. So
good for him for at least seeing that and admitting it.
I know, but that's a great example we can bring up about what is a family meeting. What does a parent want it to be and expect it to be, and what's wrong with that?
Right.
That's
Right.
kind of what I wanted to focus on next time. We can talk about the 6-step process briefly, but I don't want to get it too long. And
No, I kind of at least planted the seed that if we wanted to, covering family meetings could be more than one episode, right? In other words,
yeah,
I don't want to turn the 6-step process into 6 different videos, I don't think, but you
yeah.
could space it out a little bit, right?
Yeah, I think like I want to get into some of the more practical things. Going back to the major, focusing on what we did in the second one, which was that the first one, that the biggest reason that families fail is due to lack of communication and trust around group decision making. So if we're really looking at the family meeting to build trust around group decision making, what would that look like? And how do we practice that in some of the activities? So if I
One thing I
focus it
would,
on that, I think we can probably keep it to maybe the whole family meeting and the 6-step process to 3, maybe 4 at
yeah,
most.
right.
But
The one thing I would say is, in light of, I thought, number one, just the technology or however you used it, pulling up the slide, that worked very well. And I actually think the combination of some of this visual plus a slide for half of it, it's just more interesting for the reader, right?
yeah,
And so a listener, I think that's good. So I'm sure you have a slide or two as we work through family meetings that you could pull
well,
out.
I'll show you the one I'm thinking of because I
Don't
think,
takes more than one or two. Just again, I just think it adds some visual variety to the thing, which is nice.
yeah. Well, let me show you this one and then you tell me if you think it's appropriate or not.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
It would be, wrong way. This one. This one. Just this simple idea that the 2 rails.
Oh
The
yeah,
right
sure.
hand rail is that's where we focus on the business. That's a business meeting, and that's where we focus on
Right.
the money and the trusts and all that. And then there's the family meeting where we focus on the family issues, but it creates these cross ties that bind. And
You know what
those,
you want to do is just to make the point that you're making right now is maybe on that slide, just highlight or bold the word family and the word business. It just might make that, it's just a quick reaction to that. If you just kind of makes that juxtaposition a little bit more prominent.
yeah.
Uh,
So highlight this word and that word.
just business, yeah, because those were the words you just used. There's a family meeting and there's a business meeting.
Right.
They're different, right?
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Okay.
Good. And by the way, there's no reason why we can't have a give and take. So if I forget to say that, bring it up. That'd be a great opportunity
Yeah.
for you to chime in. But if you think about it, all these things in the middle were actually on the last slide that I showed in this one, where how do you practice and manage conflict? It's in all those kinds of smaller decisions there where you
So
build.
as we're brainstorming here, what I'm thinking of is, so I'll do my little review, shirt sleeves to shirt sleeve. So the first program might be, so Tom, when you say family meeting, what is a meeting? You could talk about, well, there's one thing that it isn't. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but that might be, is just, rather than the process, is just descriptively in broad strokes, what is a family meeting? What's likely to, what should the focus be? What's likely to make it more successful? Then in the subsequent program, we could go, just as one example, here's how we would run a family meeting, and here's what we would talk about. And those,
Right.
does that seem like, because
It
I think
does. What I was going to
that's enough
use
to
is
fill up 4 or 5 minutes right there.
I agree. In fact, what I was just describing the railroad tracks going off in the
Yep.
distance, and describing the family meetings, not the business meeting, and maybe using the David Green example, which I think you've heard me describe, where his son said we have a family meeting every month,
Oh, right.
and then the next day the father said we've only had 3 family meetings in the history of our company. And I was like, how do you put those two together? And the father said, oh yeah, well, I'm talking about the meetings where we talked about the business and money.
Right.
There was only 3 of those in
Yep.
20 years. And yet there's a monthly meeting and they said the 3 big business meetings went well, unanimity of voting because of the monthly meetings. And so the monthly meetings were incredibly important if they wanted to have 3 successful business meetings.
Sorry.
And that's why this is really critical. And they built a stronger family. So even if they didn't have a business, they're really thrilled with the results of the monthly meetings. And so family meetings is really that. But I hope to unpack that pretty much. That's really what that'll be the extent of our next call. Then we can say, now we want to talk about the agenda of the family meeting.
Correct.
Said you got to have one, but let's talk about the agenda, and we can talk about, we created a process around that and how to introduce it.
Just one second. Mauricio sent me a little. Okay. So I think that's good. This is having a kind of nice evolution here, I think. And
yeah,
I think somehow someone can tell us, just as probably could be done with your Gordon College things, these things could be packaged up somehow. We got to figure out, I don't know how to do this, but we need someone like Mauricio to tell us, maybe almost as we do these little things, how can we kind of promote them on YouTube, right? So that someone who might be searching around about family or stuff, they might just, whoa, all they got to do is latch on to one of us, and then they could one of these, and they could be connected, you know?
Right. Yeah, and I don't understand all that. Mauricio maybe does, but I hear people talk about it, and they say apparently there's that which you might see on the website and the descriptions in the website, but then there's a place you can put in all these linking type words that I don't know where you put them, but like legacy.
Yeah, hashtag and all that. I'll talk to Mauricio about that.
Legacy and family office and multi-generational and I don't know, whatever.
Cool.
But whatever those things are.
What do you guys do weekend or?
This weekend? Yeah. Well, Sunday we have a showing for the house. Saturday we're going to play golf, so that'll be fun.
At the country club or someplace else?
At the yacht club, yeah, the Duxbury Yacht Club.
Right. Okay.
We had gone to social members because we just were trying to cut back on the expenses, which is, anyway. But because they didn't have any social functions this winter due to COVID, they've offered that for the social members, they're going to let us have 14 days of full use of the club.
Oh, nice.
Means, if I play golf 14 times, that'll be about 13 times more than I normally play golf when I was an active member. So I'm not much of a golfer.
Who in your family plays golf?
Well, Kathy and I do like to play. We set up a 9-hole course around the house. It's just that normally if we had time to go do something, we'd rather go out on the boat or swimming or something. So it's not a high priority. But we are playing. We're going to go out tomorrow and play, and then we're going to play some tennis and things like that. So that'll be fun. But then Sunday we've got a showing, and then it's back into the week next week.
Sunday's Father's Day, too, I assume.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so probably something happening. How are your kids and everything?
Everyone's doing fine. My son Billy should be coming home again next Friday. So and probably he's gone back to Pittsburgh to kind of close things up as best he can, and hoping to come back here and maybe live with us for a little bit longer period of time, even, which would be really thrilling and exciting if he can. And he can go use the boat and things like that, which would be fun. Our daughter Sophie is still up in Maine doing really well at that school. Our daughter Sarah is running a gas station here. She's the manager of a gas station.
That's right. Good.
And then our son Peter's the one who is doing phenomenally well. Big job, big company, really well regarded, engineering degree, all that. He's the one that got laid off because of COVID and all. And he's now running his little Lego resale business.
He's the one who's in Corning?
Yeah. And his wife is luckily a speech pathologist. So she has quite a bit of work to do, and that's back up and running. But they're kind of, they just bought a house. They were hoping to settle down and raise a family, and so they're kind of kicked in the guts right now. But they'll come around. How are your kids doing?
They're good, I think. So let's see. So
Molly,
obviously, the whole concept of urban agriculture makes no sense in the COVID-19 world, and I don't know how she came up with the idea, but she basically has created a whole new business where basically she delivers bouquets of flowers to people once a week. And literally in like a month, she has 200 clients. And
Wow.
she never leaves her computer. The whole thing, it's like Amazon. People order the flowers from the website. She has a place where the flowers, she tells them how to organize it. She has 3 drivers.
Wow.
This is all still occurring in New York, but she's doing it living in Guilford. So that's pretty enterprising.
And you said that urban
And
agriculture.
my son, well, she's the one where her boyfriend runs all these rooftop farms, right?
I would
But
think that that would be exploding in popularity right now.
well, it is exploding in popularity, but it poses some challenges just from a social distancing standpoint and all that kind of
Oh.
stuff. And anyway, Molly made her own decision to kind of be in Connecticut and get out of New York and stuff like that. So she's doing good. And my son runs this restaurant, and in one sense they're lucky because it's a totally outdoor restaurant, and with some social distancing restrictions, Connecticut allows outdoor restaurants to serve foods. So it turns out that place is booming because people are dying to go there.
Right.
And then let's see, so Sarah graduated from nursing school. She take a test to get like her general, what is it that she's called? She's a nurse practitioner, the general license. So she took that last Wednesday and passed it. Then she has to take a test to get a license to be a midwife. And she took that test Wednesday, but she'll find out next week how she did. I'm sure she passed, but then she can apply for it. She has a job.
Wow.
I mean, she's has a full-time job starting on September 1st for a decent amount of money. So, and then Victoria got out of school. Yesterday was her first day out of school. And right now in Connecticut, camps, among other things, are allowed to be open. And so we're going to kind of watch this camp that she likes to go to for the first week and not send her the first week, but see if it seems like it goes okay. And if it does go okay, I think we're going to at least try to send her for a week or something like that and just see how she does. She would love to go to camp. It would be a good thing for her to do after being cooped inside all the time, you know. So if she could go to camp for 8 weeks or something like that, it would be good for her, good for Anna. I don't think we have any plans. At one point we had this idea of, well, let's rent a Winnebago and, I don't know, drive to Yellowstone or something like that. But I think the national parks are going to be crazy crowded this summer. So because of, what's going on. So I think we'll just stay near home. And it's nice in New England in the summertime. I'm always totally happy to be at home in the summertime, because it's usually, you get a few bad days in August or something like that. I played golf about 10 days ago and it was really enjoyable. And so I'm going to try and more often. My own golf course isn't open yet, but there are plenty of pretty decent and not crazy expensive public courses around. So somehow my course is supposed to open, I think, July 1st. So we could, so yeah, nothing. I think everybody's good. Yeah,
That's great.
yeah.
Well, that idea of the RV, especially the smaller ones, they are just flying off the shelves. I wonder what Thor Industries. I wonder how Thor Industries is doing. I mean, normally those things are very cyclical, and when the economy tanks, those things just go in the toilet. But this time around, it's been the exact opposite, because nobody wants to travel on an airplane. They all want to get with their family or their spouse. And those little ones, and
Right.
we were interested in getting one,
Yeah,
because
if
I figured
if you were just a two-person family, that would be perfect, right? You just take that thing.
And if Kathy and I, for our business, if we had a client that wanted to get together in Nashville or something like that, so it's a 2-day drive, maybe 3 days. But so we make it, what we could be doing phone calls while we're
You
driving.
know probably that Marty Shankman, I don't know
Yeah.
if he's doing it. I haven't talked to him in a while. You know, he rents a thing like that every year. He's all over the country delivering for free speeches about estate planning. His wife, I think, has MS, if I'm not mistaken, something
Yeah,
like that.
she does.
And
And
he
he's
donates a certain amount of his time to charitable organizations.
right.
And they get in this camper thing, and he's somehow, it's just him and his wife, and he's retro part of it into like a mini office so that he can work if he needs to. He can do his webinars and stuff like that. And I think, you know, kind of, if they're driving, he's driving, but if there's someplace, you know, maybe half a day he works, and then the other half of the day he gives a speech somewhere where they just some interesting. It seems like that would be pretty nice.
It would be nice. And he has described that to me. You're right. And I'm not so sure he's going to want to do it. His wife's really hunkered down for this, but we'll see.
Agreed.
Hey, what's your son's name? Is it Trent or something?
No, his real name is Charles, but we call him Chili.
Oh,
Chilly. Nickname Mary gave to him when he was a little kid, but it stuck. And so he's working like 15 hours a day, 7 days a week at this restaurant, but that's what he likes to do. So
that's cool.
and I mean, he makes about as much money in 6 months as most people would make in a year, because he basically works every day, all day long. And he's they're the two guys who own the place, but he's like the manager of the maid. So he gets paid, and he gets a share of the profits, and he essentially runs the place.
Yeah, that's cool.
And he likes it. It's not the most, you know, he's not a private equity manager or anything like that, but he's actually very happy what he's doing, and he's self-supporting. He's modest by temperament anyway. So
I had a friend in school, high school, that his parents owned a gift store that sold like baby T-shirts and flip-flops on Block Island. And they made enough money in the 2 or 3 months during the summer that they spent the winters just driving around, and they had a place down in Florida, and they did fine.
Yeah.
Just
That's
by
what
that little
Sunday. He works full time from usually, say, the beginning of April till the end of October, a little bit weather dependent. And this year they got started a little bit late.
Yeah.
But look, the restaurant's a little bit busier at other times, but he's essentially on call as the manager every day of the week. So for the rest of the year, he goes skiing or he goes to Europe, and he's single. And so I think he likes his lifestyle. And as I say, he's not extravagant, and but he has a nice place to live. He has a car. He can afford to take himself wherever he wants to. And he actually has, he's developed partially when he's off, is he has a friend who started an internet-based company, a part of which is all this digital marketing or whatever, you know, optimization, whatever they call it. And so during the winter, he works for that guy part-time. Oh, here's Victoria calling. I'm going to tell you goodbye and pick up the phone.
Okay, adios. Great to talk to you, Peter. Have a great weekend.
Hi.
What's my surprise?
Oh, what's the surprise? Now I can't remember what I said was that surprise. I actually haven't figured out what that surprise is, but we'll do it.
Visa card.
No, not,
Yeah.
but we'll do,
Like a Visa gift card.
I could do that. That's a good idea.
Yeah, like a Visa gift card, but like not one to like a specific store.
No, I understand.
Yeah, like a general.
All right, we could do that. So it would be
I've been watching a lot of that Mystery Science.
So give me an example of what's on Mystery Science.
It's that thing you sent me, remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
that, like the science. I watched it. And I remembered the password in the email for Netflix, and I'm watching it on my computer.
Oh, and what? I can't tell what I can't read what that says. Something.
It's Netflix. So it's called Flores Lava.
Oh.
It's like this brand new show where it's obstacle. Each episode is a different obstacle course. And if you fall into
So your t-shirt.
basically just hot water dyed red.
What?
It's the stripes, then it has this.
What's it
And
say?
it's just planting the future.
Okay, nice.
Also, tomorrow I can sneak over to see you because I'm seeing Hannah again tomorrow.
Okay, now, but maybe will mommy let us go to the pool on Sunday?
Probably not because I have a busy day on Monday.
Oh, with your friend.
Because I have to go to the doctor's, and then
Right.
I date with one of my friends, and we're going to her friend's pool. Because her friend isn't home.
I see. But you better come
So,
see.
and her parents,
You better come see me on Sunday because it's Father's Day. You know.
I have a card for you.
Good. We can do our usual thing on Sunday, and I can give you your surprise.
What wait, what am I doing on Sunday? Just okay. Okay, yeah. Wait. Yeah, I can come over on Sunday.
Good. And I got the, you should tell mommy that I registered us for the pool and the first time you go, you can get your, if you want to.
Okay. Wait.
But we're all signed up.
What are the rules?
Say it again.
What are like the rules though? What are like the rules?
It sounds like to me the only rules are that they may limit how many people can be in the pool at one time, and you can't like hug people and stuff like that, you know, but.
Do they still have the vending machine?
I mean, they would, unless they think because people reaching in and out of there, it wouldn't be safe. I don't know the answer to that.
True.
But it's a nice.
Do you wanna? Wait, I have a question. Can you, in the App Store, download this game called Game Pigeon? Because it's where you can play games over text, and it's so fun.
Yeah. Now, the only thing is, can we do one thing, which is I have 2 phone calls I have to make in the next half an hour. Can we catch up in half an hour? Are you going someplace, or what are you doing?
I'm probably going to be busy.
Doing what?
Kumon.
Oh, okay. Well, how much Kumon do you have to do?
Well, the lady was very smart and she gave me my Kumon. 3 do 6 Kumon.
Well, why don't you let me make my phone calls, and then
But that's so long.
it's just a half an hour.
It's long.
Do a couple of Kumons for a half an hour.
Can you call them at 5?
No, because it's Friday. It's not. I really do want to call
But
these.
can you call them tomorrow?
No, it's Saturday. If I
Can you call
download
them
the,
on Monday?
is this something that we have to do together, or you can do by yourself?
Together.
So I think we got to do that a little bit later tonight, Ken. Tell me the name of it again, so that.
Okay, so I'll send you a screenshot of what the logo of the game looks like.
Okay.
So go to the App Store right now
Oh, okay. Wait a sec.
and search up Game Pigeon.
Wait a sec. Okay. App.
And I'll describe to you the logo.
Let me find the App Store. Okay, there it is. Okay, then there's a place where you can search.
So search Game Space Pigeon.
Right.
And then the one you're looking for is like a green bird. And they have a little goggles on that, and the left side has a plus, and then the right side has a red dot and a blue dot.
All right, wait a second. So, wait a minute. Why does that say Plato? Oh, Game Pigeon. Right, one has a pool table, one has darts, another pool table.
Here, wait a second. I'll send you the logo.
Oh, but here's the pigeon. As a
Wait a second. Just let me send you this, and then tell. And
I
then.
know, we got to be quick though, because I got to make these 2 phone calls.
Okay.
I think I found it. It's a little pigeon with a plus sign on one eye and a red and a blue dot on the
Yeah,
other.
yeah. It's that one.
Okay, so let's get that. Let's see, double click.
And then, so where you're gonna find.
Wait just a second. I gotta put in my password and everything.
Alright. So let's do a test round after you put in your password.
Okay, it seems like it's there.
Okay, so now go.
Oh, but it
to
may
your
take a
top-
minute for it to download. Let me just see if it's.
No, because it doesn't download in your apps. That's how it works.
Oh,
So go into your text messages with me,
yeah.
and then you know how a little bar comes up and there's little apps on it? Like when you are here, wait, I have to do it so I remember how to explain it. So you before you see all those apps, like the photos app, the apps right above the keyboard.
I can't hear you. Okay, above the. I'm on my phone though, darling.
Yeah, above the little typing keys. See those little apps?
Wait just a second. Typing key.
Here, so then next to, you know where where the message you're typing shows up?
No.
Next to that bar, do you see a little app store?
Yeah.
Click it. Now scroll on those apps until you find that little pigeon.
Nothing's happening when I hit the little app thing.
Oh my god, I'll send you a screen recording of what you need to do.
All right, but I gotta make.
How about I just send it to you?
That's fine, but I gotta
I'll
make.
just send it to you first.
I gotta make my phone calls.
Wait 5 minutes. Second.
It seemed like this app thing is activated. All right, well, go ahead. Just you can. How are you sending it to me? Oh, here it is.
By text. Duh. Did you get it?
Not yet. It just says
Wait, what's your phone number again?
9. Here it is. Okay. All right. So now, what do you want me to do with that?
Click on the let's play basketball. And now, just with your finger, toss the balls into the hoop.
I don't know. It won't start for some reason.
Oh my god, this is so stupid. Okay, I'll send you a screen recording of how to make this work. See you after your call. Bye.
It just doesn't want to start. Hmm. Are you sending me a recording? Hello? Okay, so Hmm. Oh, I see. Okay.
Hey, Peter.
Hey, Perry.